Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Long time no see. It's actually been a hot minute. I just had some life and mental health things going on, so I went away for a while, but now I'm doing really well and I'm so excited to get back to filming. And what better way to get back with than a fall video, specifically a fall video all about eyeshadow palettes, which is one of my favorite categories. Before we get into it, I will say I just filmed this look. It's supposed to be like a Harvest Festival cosplay look. I just finished it and it will be up after this video, so stay tuned for that one. It was an interesting ride, something new for me, but that I look forward to doing more often here on this channel. Just getting really creative, having fun with makeup, going a little bit more outside of the box. And no, it's not a bad foundation match. I did my face fully in like fall colors, so it's yellow and red and orange. That's why if you're interested, keep a lookout, subscribe if you want it to show up. But either way, we're not here for that. We're here for eyeshadow palettes. I have 10 of them here with me, and most of these are ones that I have had and used during fall time for multiple years and that I love bringing out. I do have, I think, two that are newer-ish. Let me stop rambling and we can jump right into it. My first pick is more of a technicality, I guess. I really wanted to feature it because when I saw it, it gave me spooky season October vibes, even though the color story didn't necessarily. And okay, let me show it to you. This right here, look at how gorgeous this packaging is. This is the Zeesea Fireworks eyeshadow palette. Why they named it that, I have no idea, to be honest. But look at how beautiful it gives me. Dia de los Muertos, just gorgeous. Let me open it up. And you can see I leave like the little protector sheet because I love the artwork on it. When we open it up, these are the colors, and I don't know if you can see, but it has like embossing and a lot of the shades, the matte shades, which is like there's a skull and there's skeletons. It just, oh, so beautiful. And the colors are really beautiful as well, but they don't necessarily scream fall to me. They more remind me of, again, like a Dia de los Muertos sort of celebration. So it's in the fall category in that it's in the Halloween kind of category. This is a very recent addition to my collection. Actually, my husband got it for me as a gift. The formula is nice. I really enjoy the mattes. They're not high impact, super richly pigmented mattes. They're more buildable, which I still think is nice. The shimmers are more of a soft shimmer formula, and then you have two glitters that are actually really nice. It was definitely one of those that I'm like, when it got into September, I was like, okay, I'm putting this out. I'll probably have it displayed back here or something. So that's why I'm like, let me put it first, because it's not technically fall the way that you would think about it, but I couldn't not include it. Just look at that. Gorgeous. Now we're gonna get into the actual like fall palettes. First, an oldie but a goodie. This is the Tartelette Toasted palette. I think I remember this coming out more in like the summertime, and everybody says like, oh, fiery, toasty, but I just see it and I think more like campfire, fireplace toasty, and the shades to me are most definitely fall. Don't mind my palettes. I use all of these a lot, so they're gonna be a little bit dirty, but I hope you can see there's just all this toastiness and this warmth and richness that I really associate with fall. You have this more like orangey brown kind of terracotta shade. This one here is like a reddish brown that is gorgeous. Then you have more of this bronzy shade and a copper, and then you have these very rich browns. This one has more of a plum undertone down here. I don't know if you can tell, but I have pan in this shade, and I almost have pan in this shade as well. This is one that just gives me all of the warmth that I'm looking for, a lot of that pumpkin spiciness that we sort of gravitate towards this time of year. So it's not the most diverse pick out of the ones that I have here, but it's definitely worth looking into. And I love Tarte mattes. Their shimmers I think are nice, and there's some very nice ones in here, but the standouts are definitely their matte formula to me personally. Next pick is a Morphe palette. This is the Morphe 35M Boss Mood palette. Again, it's been used and abused, so it is a little bit dirty, but if you can see, it is kind of the ultimate fall palette. You have all of these greens ranging from some that are a little bit more bright and vibrant. This one has like more gold. It's a shimmer, which is gorgeous. This one is a green, like an apple green, but it also has flecks of orange glitter in there. It's beautiful, but then you have these more grungy greens that have a lot more depth. You have browns that have a more of a yellowy or caramely undertone, and again you get those oranges, the reds, the purples. There's so much variety in here, and I have no issues with the formula. The mattes blend out really nicely. The shimmers have a lot of dimension, a lot of very different colored glitters that are suspended in there, but they're not chunky at all. They go on like a metallic, just very smooth and high shine. So this is one that I pull out all of the time throughout the year, but especially during the fall time, I have to dig into it. Now this one, oh, love it. The Gather Round Sisters palette, which was a collaboration between Hocus Pocus and Colourpop. The packaging alone is gorgeous, but then we open it up and we have this beautiful array of fall tones. You have a little bit of like the warm browns, but then you have these grungy greens, and you have more of these cranberry type shades, some purple. I feel like for not being like a huge palette, it still offers you a lot of variety, a lot of different looks that you can create just with this palette alone. And the Colourpop quality always is super consistent, at least in my experience. I think I have like between 6 and 8 Colourpop palettes. I try not to go crazy because with Colourpop you could just be buying their stuff forever. They have so much to choose from and they're constantly coming out. But this one, yes, there's a nostalgia factor because it is Hocus Pocus, and that's also a movie that just evokes fall and Halloween. But as a palette on its own, having nothing to do with the collaboration, it is still a wonderful, beautiful fall pick. If you have it, maybe this reminds you to bring it out. Because I did that one, I had to do this one next, and it is the second collaboration between Colourpop and Hocus Pocus. This one to me was like the opposite side. So the previous one is more of the grungy greens and more of the witchy vibes, but this I felt was more like the fun camp side of the fall and Halloween season. I feel like on the eyes, these actually translate a little bit differently than they do in the pan. I know this green right here, I've used it quite a few times for Black is Black, and it actually, for some reason in the camera it's looking blue, but it's actually a deep green, and when you blend it out you can even get a little bit of like a grayish undertone, so it's more unique than it looks in the pan, and you can get depth from it. Circle of Salt is a beautiful, beautiful metallic. It's just a very rich like emerald, and then again you get like the orange and purple, which orange and purple I love pairing together in the fall time. And then you get like your golds and stuff, and I feel like this is very fall but just a tad bit different. So I do think they did a good job, and these two actually work really well together as companion palettes for each other. And I have a feeling there might be a re-promote of this one this year, like there was of the first edition last year, but I guess we'll see. Let's do this one next. Unfortunately, it got ruined when I was moving, but the at least the outside did. This is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, which is like, normally wouldn't be a big deal, but this was very expensive. But to me, totally worth it. And this, tell me this is not fall in a palette. It has everything you could want for fall. It has, again, a lot of these greens that are gorgeous, different tones of greens, but it also has coppers and golds that have greenish undertones, which pair together beautifully. But then you have a lot of warmth over here on this side. You have the red that also brings kind of those cranberry tones that I also like to use during the fall time. There's just so much variety, and I really like Natasha Denona's formula. I have this one, then I have another one of the midi palettes, and then two of the bigger 5-pan palettes, and I've loved all of them so far. But out of all of her palettes, this would be my #1 fall pick. I'm pretty sure that they brought it back. Like, it was supposed to be limited edition, but every once in a while I'll see it just be brought back all the time. But if you own it and you haven't thought of bringing it out yet, you definitely should for this fall season. From a very expensive pick to a not expensive pick. So this is the Morphe x Jaclyn Hill palette. It's the Armed and Gorgeous one from the Vault collection. I know a lot of people did not have a good experience with the Vault collection. I did have a good experience with it. I actually love all 4 of them, and I still use them a lot to this day. But this one, look at it. That is fall. It's like they hit each one of the points, because you have your very beautiful green, and that has like the more murky undertone to it. It's more of a army green. But then you have your yellow. It's not a super bright like neon yellow. It's more of a like richer golden yellow. And then you have 2 of your oranges. You have your very rich brown, and then you have this array of gold. This one that is more of a copper. Then you have your green gold and more of your traditional gold, and together it just works to make such beautiful eye looks. Every time I bring this out and I use it, I feel really pretty, you know, and I never have any issues with it. So if you haven't played with this palette in a while and you have it, maybe bring it out. I can see, I don't know if you can tell, but I have a huge dip in the shade Secure, as well as the shade Access and Top Secret, which is the green, the yellow, and the orange, because those are the ones that I love dipping into. I think you can kind of see it. This is definitely a much used, much loved palette, and even though I use it in the summertime, to me it is very much like the perfect transition from summer into fall sort of palette. All right, a pick that you may not necessarily think of when you think fall, and I know a lot of us got it because it is gorgeous. Is this the Anastasia Beverly Hills and I was gonna say Jaclyn Hill and Jackie Aina palette. This is one of my all-time favorite palettes. I would say it is definitely top 5, most likely top 3, but I have so many that I love that I'm not gonna put my hand to the fire. But just look at it. It is so beautiful. Jackie Aina did such a beautiful job. But the reason that I look at this and I think fall. I like to bring it out during the fall time. I use it year round, but usually this section here really inspires me during the summer. And then this half over here to me is just yummy autumn fall time. You have Edges, that to me is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow shades of any palette, any brand, anywhere, because it's technically a brown, but it has so much red in it that it just adds a richness to whatever eye look you're doing it. Of course, Ginger as well. It's more of a caramely tone that it has that is beautiful on the eyes. And then Credit, very rich brown. But then you have this one right here, Lituation, which is kind of like a very rich, deep taupe, but with a plum undertone. I think it's unique, much more than unique than it looks like in the pan. And then you have right here Sponsored, which is one of those blue browns that pairs so beautifully with everything around. And again, this one, which is very much like a green gold or an old gold, it has a little bit of a shift. And if you want to grab a palette and just be able to like blend the mattes in 2 seconds and pop a shimmer on your lid and have it look beautiful and dimensional, but that will scream fall time, bring this one out. You know, sometimes it's deceptive because it does have the, you know, the pinks and the purples, so your mind might not automatically think fall, but it definitely is. It's beautiful. Okay, we have 2 palettes left. I had to bring out this one. This is the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. I actually only have 2 Urban Decay palettes, this one and the Naked Cherry, and I thought about putting the Naked Cherry in here because I do think those deep, rich cranberry tones are very fitting for fall, but the issue that I have is that's not my favorite palette in the world. So I always feel conflicted about it, and I can't really recommend it because of that. But this one, I adore. Let me take that out of there before it falls. But as you can see, this, you might think, oh, that's basic, it's browns. But no, to me it's unique because all of them have such a pronounced yellow undertone and golden undertone that you don't always get in browns. And then here you can get like the full spectrum of them, and they just look so gorgeous on the eyes. And for some reason it evokes fall to me whenever I look at this palette. You can go light, but there's also depth in here as well, and I just always reach for it. And while I'm conflicted about the Cherry palette, this one, I look at it and it brings me joy. I do think that the mattes are very blendable, super nice. They have a nice amount of pigment. They're not overly pigmented. You're not going to put it on and go, oh my god, wow, this is such a pigmented shadow. But it just has like that good amount where you're not going to struggle to blend it out. And the shimmers are nice and soft and reflective. They're not the most like blinding metallic, but for this palette and this color story, I don't think that's necessarily what you want and what you're looking for. Gorgeous all year round, especially in the fall though. And this is our last pick. Of course, I had to have a Juvia's Place palette in here. I did have a couple of others that were in contention, or that were contenders for this place, but it had to be the Nomad by Juvia's Place. First of all, I always love their packaging. Open it up, you can see it's messy. What is new? I have to go through and like clean all of my palettes because I use them to death. But isn't this a beautiful fall palette? Because you have like a more golden, almost mustardy yellow, and then you have more of your pure yellow. You have your deep greens, your more army green right here that has yellow undertones in it. This is such a gorgeous shimmer. Let me go ahead. I told myself I wasn't gonna swatch, but you can see how reflective their metallic formula is always on point, gorgeous. But this to me is quintessential fall because like you can go and do just the warm pumpkin spicy kind of looks, or you can go very, very grungy with it as well, which I love. And then you can obviously mix and match and create endless number of looks with this. You can do one shadow looks with it. And I'm always shocked because I feel like not enough people talk about this palette, even though it is so good and deserves more hype and love because it is blendable, it is smooth, it is pigmented, and the shades are the epitome of fall time. So there we go. Those were my picks for 10 of my favorite fall palettes. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? We can have a conversation about it. If I missed any that are like your favorite fall palettes, put them down below. I'm always up for having more fall palettes. I also hope you haven't been drinking every time I say fall because yikes. Either way, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you want to stick around for all of the new content that I have coming out, I've already filmed a ton of stuff. Please subscribe. Other than that, I hope you're doing well, and until next time.